Welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln, where we take a look around the Lincoln, Nebraska area and introduce you to business owners and influential people in the city. We are brought to you by Perch Merch. Perch Merch is a locally owned, custom screen printing and embroidery apparel shop that also specializes in vehicle wraps, decals, and all sorts of promotional products. If your business, school, or team is looking to expand your brand, head to perch-merch.com or call us at 402-217-5212.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln. I am your host, Chris Beecham, joined by my co-host, Henry Schmidt.
Hey, Chris.
And producer, Joe Cruz.
Hello, everyone.
Henry, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
So, we should let all the listeners know what happened.
You should not stick your finger under an embroidery machine when it's running. That's a little tip.
That is, so thanks to Henry, we now had to reset our days since accident.
It's at 2.
And Henry has a needle in his bone, and he will be having surgery soon. So if you want to send him flowers or, thinking of you cards or whatever, you can just send him here to the office.
I think he actually stuck it in the bone when he tried to push it out of his own finger.
I did try to do that.
That is quite possible.
You can still feel it on this side, though.
I think just use the magnet and pull it out. That's what I said.
I think we could do it right now.
That was a weird
as we're
sensation.
recording.
That was a weird sensation, putting a magnet up to my finger and feeling
the tension.
Yeah. It's uncomfortable. Don't
we'll
recommend that.
This is exactly how our guests thought we would start this episode.
I like that you're talking about each other and not me, so keep it up.
Well, let's get to you. So today in the Perch Merch studio is Rebecca McNeese of Rebecca Marie Photo.
Hi there.
Hi. How are you doing?
I am great.
So we met recently because you actually did me and Michelle's mowers headshots.
I did.
And you made me look good. So
keep it up.
We recommend you.
You're welcome.
So now we have you on our podcast.
A lot of lighting effects. Is that what
I should have had you on the podcast before to get a discount or something, but here we are. It's fine. So tell us, how did you get into, what is Rebecca Marie Photo and how did this come about?
So I am a professional brand photographer. I've been a photographer about 10 years. About 18 months ago, I niched into brand photography. I came to a crossroads where I was either going to sell all my gear or invest in a business coach that I had found that focuses on brand photography. I was still working my corporate job at the time, and I have 2 small children, and I was so sick of working nights and weekends doing family photos and weddings and seniors and things like that. I love all of those people, but I hated leaving
except
my
the
family
seniors.
Actually, seniors are probably the easiest of that group. And so I had found a photography coach that did brand photography. I had shot some brand photography sessions. Really loved it.
Can you describe what a brand photographer is?
Yeah. So brand photography to me is any type of personal brand or business brand photography images. So
products, places,
people, places, things, stock photography, your visual digital presence that's not your logo or things like that. So fulfills that photography need to support your personal brand if you're like an influencer or podcaster or something like that, or your business digital presence. So does that make sense?
It does to me.
Is that an okay answer?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, so it's corporate, it's commercial photography, but you can have brand photography if you just like I feel like everyone can have it. I think everybody needs a good photo of themselves. But everyone deserves a great photo of themselves, even if it's a headshot. But if you have any sort of online presence, you have a personal brand. And if you're a business owner, you might have a personal brand and a business brand. And photography is just a way to add to your brand identity. So,
yeah, because I think you did a really good job of that with me.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had a headshot since I was a real estate, like 20 years ago.
Right. Way too long. Way too long.
Yeah.
Please don't wait. Please don't wait that long.
Those aren't in the Journal Star anymore, so it doesn't matter.
I've seen headshots that look like mugshots, and it pains me. So.
Oh, I actually don't hate that idea.
What?
We should do that for Joe.
Joe.
I'm like,
Because you're gonna do all the perch merch people here soon. So yeah, there you go, Joe.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll bring a whole wardrobe.
Okay, listen. No, this is not. This is not your personal.
Okay, I got a lot of hats I can wear.
You know what? You should probably just hire her on your own.
Okay.
Because you do have. There's a lot of layers to Joe's onion.
yeah, Joe would be a really great example of personal brand photography. And I do a lot of that, but I work with a lot of small businesses. I've worked with larger corporations too. And our main goal is to ditch the stock. With the large organizations, the main goal is to really ditch the stock photography. I feel like it's very recognizable now if you go to somebody's website or their Instagram page and you see like purchased iStock images. Even like a regular consumer can identify those now. And so it's all about giving you your own toolkit of images to use that are authentic and personal. And so Joe would be a great personal brand photography. And some people, like I like considering myself a professional brand photographer because I'm not just supporting personal brands, right? Like I've worked with organizations and businesses, law firms. Did you know?
Oh, we get a did you know?
Oh, let's go.
Did you know those little wire flags that like people mark sprinkler systems and stuff?
Uh-huh.
The main global manufacturer of those is in Neely, Nebraska. Like a multi-billion-dollar company in the little town of Neely.
I had to go to
Nebraska.
Neely like a month ago.
Yeah, I knew that.
Multi-billion-dollar company sitting
Didn't
right
know
there
that.
in the middle. Like people in the town don't even know it.
No,
and
that's
so I did
wild.
some brand photography for them. But it was all
Was there any
about
red flags when you did that?
lots of red flags, purple flags, yellow flags.
Where's my
That
sound?
was so good, so good.
That's good. So
But they're like I said, so they are not a small business, right? But they still had a need for professional photography.
What was that company called?
A Blackburn Manufacturing
Okay.
Company is the company in Neely.
So your pictures would be on their website?
Yes,
All right, I'm going to have to check
should
that
be.
out. Okay,
they should be if they're using them. I can give you photos whether you use them or not.
true.
It pains me when you don't use them, though. And I notice, just for the record, all my clients out there not using their photos.
Michelle.
right round. Anyway, so were you like a photographer junkie like growing up? Were you always taking pictures and that's...
I don't really feel like I was. I honestly, how I kind of got started, I don't even remember buying my first camera, to be honest. Like, I wish I could tell you some like heartfelt story about how, like, you know, even as a 5-year-old, I followed around my family. But technology back
Let's
then.
try it anyway.
I've had a camera in
I
my
was
hand
6
since
months
I
old.
came out of the womb.
You told your mom at the age of 3 you were going to be a photographer.
It was a Polaroid.
Say cheese. Yeah.
It's a disposable camera that you had to take to Walgreens.
I think
Nope,
that
nobody else.
So, I didn't know
I
if that.
definitely had.
youngins.
I definitely had a lot of fun savers growing up. I still have like a pack of printed Kodaks from nights out with my friends in high school and college and things like that. I think, and I honestly, when I first had a camera and started shooting, I was like, I'm going to shoot things. Like, I don't need to shoot people. I'm going to go shoot beautiful landscapes or cool flowers, or I don't even know what I was doing. But I couldn't avoid it when I started actually shooting, and when I started shooting people, it just kind of, they just, once they know you can do it, then they're saying, oh, I know somebody that's a photographer. Can you take our family photos? So I say I've been a photographer for 10 years. It was about 10 years ago that I took my first photos. They're hideous. They're hideous photos. But it was like a first paying session. So I feel like since then I've been a professional
Yeah, if you're getting
photographer.
paid to take photos, I would say you're a photographer.
Yeah.
I think
It
that's-
took me
But
a
everybody
long...
thinks they're a photographer these days because you
Yeah.
have fancier cameras just on your phone
yeah.
with a lot of filters already
Everyone
there.
can be a photographer. I can tell you, and this might make me a disgrace to the photography community. I can tell
We're
you,
gonna hear from them.
I would not be a photographer if I had to shoot film. Like, I don't even know how that was a thing. I would never have ever shot a wedding if I couldn't see the
Oh
image
my gosh.
right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to develop it.
I don't know how they did it. I don't.
I think
And,
about that
yeah.
a lot too.
So digital photography is the reason why I became a photographer. I'm mostly self-taught. I took some online education courses early on that really helped me kind of refine my experience and the technology side. So like you guys experienced this a little bit in your headshot session. I try so hard to shoot in camera so that there's very minimal editing on the side. And then with that, during the session, you get to see in real time the images. So having that builds trust with my clients, and it helps them relax, because nobody likes to get their photos taken. Maybe a handful of people in the world are like, yes, let's go take more photos.
I'm ready.
The younger generation is like
You're
more,
sitting with one.
Right.
Yeah.
The younger generation is, I think, more comfortable behind the camera because they've been, selfie world for forever. But being able to show you mid-session what you look like and tweak the things that you don't like has really helped, I think, build my business and just builds trust with the client during the session. So this is not my actual advertising campaign, but lately I've been kind of just talking about how I make photos not suck, because a lot of times that's like what people say, like, oh, that didn't suck, or that wasn't as bad. And like, Chris, he was just like, I actually like them. Like, I actually like them. I'm like, well, I hope you like them because you hired me and paid me money to take them. And if you didn't like them, I really wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Yeah, I just didn't expect them to turn out that good.
That's awesome.
That's
and then the reaction that I would like.
Because I had tried, I'm going to be, full disclosure, I tried to figure it out myself,
Your AI.
and then I tried to do the whole AI thing, which, I showed you what that turned out. It looked like, I looked like a,
Superman.
Like clay.
I looked like an ambulance chaser lawyer. Like, I don't even know. I'll put it up on
Wait,
the
are
website
you saying
or something.
you just uploaded a selfie of you?
So you take like 20 selfies of you. Well, first I was just trying to take 20 selfies of myself to like.
Those generate like random features. It wouldn't look like you.
Well, it's supposed to, according
And
to
this
the
is
ad.
why we have photographers to. Oh my God, Chris!
Right now.
Yeah,
I will put that up.
you look like
something.
the owner of a morgue waiting for someone to die.
Should be an Mad Men or
bad.
something.
I was like, okay, well, I need to hire somebody. So
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So AI has not come even
that
close to
picture.
No.
catching up yet.
no.
I feel like AI headshots can work for people who like truly just need a headshot, but I would argue that nobody just needs a headshot. And I didn't argue that with you when you booked me, because I was like, I could tell that you just needed this, and I just wanted to like emergency headshot situation. Let's just fulfill this need. I never overnight edit, so don't tell anybody I did that for
don't
you.
get
Yeah, you did. It wasn't even overnight. It was the same day.
True. Again,
But also you
cut that part
said
out.
you're doing a lot of things on site to make sure that you don't have a bunch of edits to do afterwards.
Right,
So,
right. And what Chris got was not a headshot session. And I joked about this during the session. Like, they basically got a mini brand session at the coffee shop. And it was great. And I had no problem doing that, because I'm doing this to help businesses succeed. And I understand relationship building, and I understand, sales and relationship building and all of that. And so I was not about ready to just be like, no, pay me more, because we took an extra
2 hours.
But back to AI, I mean, like I said, I think if you really truly just need like a new headshot for your resume for the job that you're applying for, then yeah, do AI. But there's nothing personal and authentic about that, because AI created it. It might be your face, but it might not necessarily be outfits that you would wear or whatever. So I think,
or the broad shoulders that
Yeah.
might be in the picture.
So how'd you get here? Did you quit your corporate job?
I did. So April of this year, I quit my corporate job and went full time with photography. So back to like 2 years ago when I niched into, and I came to that aha moment with my husband where I was like, I seriously told him.
Was there a moment like, I'm picturing like you had to do, some weird family photos where people are,
Being
I don't know,
annoying.
the kid's screaming, the
Yeah.
baby's crying.
Yeah.
They want to be in, matching
There wasn't.
leotards. And you're just like, you know what?
Screw it. I'm done.
Yeah. Add that to things not to say or do to your photographer is like.
So what are some things that you should not say to your photographer?
As a photographer, and there's photographers out there that will post this on social media, and it's funny and we all laugh, but I have been so hesitant to actually say these things publicly, because I have clients that say them to me every time I talk to them, but I still love them, right? So
So if you're listening,
if you're listening, I love you, and if you said this to me, I don't hate you, I still love you.
but don't say it again.
She secretly hates you, but yeah. What are the things?
Can you Photoshop that? Is something you should not ever say to a photographer.
Oh, really?
One of the first things people say to me is what I said when I got here is like, I don't even remember what I said, but I just hate having my photos taken.
That's like that's their opener.
Almost always.
Well, yeah,
Like-
it was mine.
Yeah, it was Chris's.
Man, these guys
it's
are doing
everyone.
a terrible job.
No, that's why I said to my clients, like, you're not bad if you say this, but these are things that, like,
I just hate getting my photo taken. Can you Photoshop this immediately?
can you
please?
Photoshop that? I don't think I've ever had somebody say this to me, but I've heard other photographers say, like, your camera takes great pictures. Yes, my camera does. Oh, one of the worst ones, and this is every type of photography situation: family, seniors, maybe not weddings, but I just need one good photo.
Yeah.
Then grab an iPhone
say
and
it
your
out loud.
neighbor and take a picture. That is one of the worst things, especially as a brand photographer, because I'm trying to come from like a marketing strategy background, and I'm like, you don't just need one photo.
You don't. And I realized that
Yeah.
since you didn't do that, because it's like, okay, well, I need one for here, one for here, one
Yeah.
for here. They can't all be the same. Then
Yeah.
that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, this guy only has one good photo.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
basically.
in like the family situation, like you might just want one good photo for
The Christmas
a Christmas card, but then again, don't hire somebody to take your photos for a lot of money when you can just have somebody take it with an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, have like the weird boyfriend take the photo.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
how you
we-
get them out of the shot.
Yeah.
We get a lot of
like
that
the
too.
wife's boyfriend? What do you mean?
Like the cousin's weird boyfriend.
The person that's
My
not.
sister always has a new boyfriend every year. We always have to crop out of the.
Yeah, they're not allowed to be in
Yeah.
the photo.
Make him take
Don't
the
let him
picture instead.
be in the picture when you get the family photo at the wedding.
That's another thing we get though. Is like, oh yeah, my uncle's a photographer. Cool. Then why are you working with
like,
me?
damn, that's crazy.
It's like my cousin's a DJ.
Yeah.
Working
So many of
weddings.
them.
I
Oh,
see
yes.
so many like the aunt or uncle come to the photographer. Oh, what kind of camera are you using? Yeah, I got one of those, but I have a different lens. Like just comparing
Yeah.
immediately.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, like, I get it. You could take a picture with the camera.
Yeah.
But this is the photographer we're working with today.
Right. Right.
And then get him out of the way as he's taking his own pictures. Anyway.
Speaking of weddings, the worst thing that you can say to your wedding photographer, in my opinion, is, "Can we do that thing that we saw on TikTok?"
Oh yeah.
No, we can't.
Simple
Not
enough.
doing that. Which
All
is
the-
not
all the
true.
new trends that
There's
they
so many
see.
trends on TikTok. But again, I'm a personal brand photographer, so I'm like, that's trending and trending. Why don't you just do you and be you at your wedding?
Yeah, just be you.
Those
my
are probably the
wedding-
best ones. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what's the question?
What
where I
made
got
you get
started.
to that point
Okay.
with your husband?
So to Chris's point, there was not a one moment, but there was definitely, once I had my first child, there was definitely like, I just started doing less and less, but photography for our family had become like an income we relied on. Like I made a decent amount of money working it as a side hustle. And then once I had my second child, I was like working two jobs and being a mom. And I looked at, like, there was a time in my life where I looked at my husband and I'm like, why am I the one working two jobs? I wanted these two kids more than you did. My husband loves his children, for the record.
But he didn't want it as much.
I have two stepchildren too that we love and adore. And so my sweet husband did it all over again so that I could have my own biological children. And we have a great blended family. But there was a time where I was like, this is not what we envisioned when we talked about having kids and stuff. And I said, if this is gonna be my second job, it's gonna look a lot different. And at the time, I had found a brand photographer in Sioux Falls that specializes in education and coaching for other brand photographers. And so I was like, I'm gonna pull the trigger and spend this money. And it's a lot. It feels like a lot of money for me for a side hustle, but it's either that or I'm selling my gear. I was dead serious about that too. Like I have thousands of dollars worth of photography gear. I was like, I'm done. I can't work two jobs anymore. I just can't do it. And something had to give. My corporate job, I was an event planner or event coordinator. They didn't call me that, but that's what I did.
Self-proclaimed.
No,
much.
they're not paying her
Pretty
the right
much.
amount
There
by
was-
not giving her the title.
There was some complications around that wasn't my actual title, but that's what I did. And I didn't hate it, but it was a 9 to 5 job and I think there's a lot of people out there that seek that freedom that being your own boss can have. And so I was like, something's got to give. And at that time, my husband wasn't quite ready for me to go out on my own with photography. And so anyway, 2 years ago, hired or I hired this brand photographer that does coaching. I joined her group coaching session, and I did 2 cohorts of that actually. And within the first probably 4 weeks of me paying for that and joining her group coaching program, I booked my first 4-figure brand session. And so through that year, 2023, I continued to do it as a side hustle and focusing on brands, and did, booked what I could with my day job. And the end of 2023, I hired another business coach, a local business coach, which I will give him a shout out, and because I feel like he is having him going through his Catalyst program really got me to the point where I could quit my day job. So his name is Michael King. His website is teams.coach. And I did a Catalyst program that he has for small businesses where it was 90 days of coaching. And within that 90 days, I had started booking enough business that by the end of February of 2024, I didn't have enough PTO at my day job to take off to book the session. So brand photography is trending right now in photographers' worlds because we can work during the day instead of the evenings. And that's what I wanted. And so I had booked these sessions, and in some cases 4-figure sessions. And I was like, at the end of, we talk about oh shit moments on this show, right? One of my oh shit moments was, oh shit, I don't have any PTO left. And so I told my husband, I'm like, I'm going to either have to turn down this 4-figure session that could turn into future projects. Some of my clients are recurring regularly. And so we sat down and we crunched the numbers and we came to a deal, and here I am.
It's like a compromise negotiations. You and your husband at the kitchen table.
Yeah. We got a babysitter and went to a coffee shop.
I'm doing it,
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah.
Well, I like to let my husband wear the pants and think he wears the pants. So
Yeah,
My wife does that too.
I'm very aware of the situations.
yeah, I think it was just literally just a matter of being like, look, here's, what I booked in the last year with this as a side hustle. And I'm making my paycheck. I'm making my day job paycheck as a side hustle. Think of what I could do if this was a full-time thing. So
far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah.
So have you had any difficult people? What's a branding session?
Like you?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, what's a bad day?
Yeah.
A bad day is nobody's booking me. No.
I assume it would be. Sorry.
No, go. You say yours.
I would guess when you're the professional and know things, but they can never agree with what you.
They have their own idea of what poses they want.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what. Yeah. Because I had no idea what to do at first.
Sure.
And then you literally just kind of started like this. Just do this, do that, do this. So you had all the go, which is exactly
I'm not
what I
gonna do
needed.
that.
Right.
I'll look silly. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
Or don't
exactly.
take that picture.
Yeah.
We don't need that stuff in the picture.
Yeah. So for true brand sessions, I don't really do this with headshot sessions, but for all of my other session types, there's like an extensive planning process. So I book discovery calls before I even book the client, and then they have homework and we go through. We have a planning call where we literally talk about it. So I have the mood board. I have them check out a couple of my blogs that say what to wear, what to bring, and that sort of thing. And so that helps get us to a point where I know we're on the same page. Some people kind of laugh when I say create a Pinterest mood board. And as a photographer, a family and engagement and wedding and senior photographer, back in the day, I was like, Pinterest. I don't need to see your Pinterest board to know how to pose you. And I was such a snob about it. But as a brand photographer, I'm like, you and I can look at the same photo and see the same thing and know that we are on the same page. And so Pinterest is like a godsend for me for these types of things, because we go into the session knowing we are aligned in the vision.
So you can get right to work. You can get right to productive photography.
Yes. I think a lot of people book me for my efficiency. So like I put my event planner hat on, right? And like we have a timeline. They get a session guide ahead of time. We have a timeline. We have shot lists. In the planning call, we talk about what they're wearing, which set we're using while they're wearing, all of the things. There's no showing up and shooting, except for when it's headshots in an emergency situation.
Emergency headshot.
Emergency headshot. Call me 911.
I needed them for my other
But
new podcast, The Unscripted Climb.
I think to answer your question about like what a bad day is a lot of my clients are booking me because they have heard on a referral that they don't have to think about how to pose and things like that. I'm going to guide them the whole way. And we all have insecurities, even men. Like I've worked primarily with women, and I've found lately that even with men, they have the same securities. They might not talk about it, but they do. And so a bad day for me truly is when I have done my best to try and pose a woman or a man to feel their best and they're most comfortable and love their images. If they don't love them, it kills me, and we start over. And I've only had a couple experiences where they just weren't in a situation where they felt confident in themselves enough for me to be able to produce that. But for the most part, I've been lucky enough that women who are insecure, I can give them at least a handful of photos where I've posed them in a way that they really do feel good about themselves. And that is really what's most important, because I am that woman. Like I hate you put that camera up and I'm just like, oh God, what's happening? I hate being on that side of the camera. And so it's my goal to make sure people don't hate that and that they have good photos of themselves. Like we all have our insecurities and we all get really awkward. I told somebody the other day, I'm like, speaking of SpongeBob, I'm like an awkward
because
sponge.
Your maiden name is Seaburger.
Yes. Thanks, Dad. Love you.
Just wanted to say
You get
that
those
again.
at the Krabby Patty.
I did, but no, seriously, I told somebody the other day, I'm like an awkward sponge in the session. Maybe this you didn't feel. Maybe you felt this. Maybe you didn't. But photography is so awkward, and so I try to like make it less awkward by like being the awkward person in the room, so that you don't
Take up the
awkward.
awkwardness.
I thought
Yeah.
you were
I
super
hate
awkward,
awkward
so it
stuff.
worked out.
Okay, good.
Plus,
I
we
nailed
were
it,
at a
guys.
coffee
Nailed it.
shop. It was one of those things. I wasn't comfortable at first, period. And then we're in a coffee shop, and there's people watching.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know.
worst. Is when there's people watching.
But then, once you start posing me and you're showing me the pictures, like you just said, I'm like, oh, look at me.
yeah, look good. Look good.
Where else do we want to go? Move over,
Start
people.
nudging the public.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you see that picture?
There was
Yeah.
these ladies were like, we need these seats.
Who's this
like
guy?
this has natural light. And I
Yeah.
look real good in natural light.
Show them
Yeah.
pictures. Show them pictures.
We did have to wait for some friends to get out of the seats that we wanted to use.
Friends
but-
in a coffee shop?
Well,
No.
that's what we're talking
They're all
about.
they're all friends in a coffee shop, Joe.
It was
No,
Central
I got it.
Yeah.
He's too young.
He's too young. He's too young.
Yeah.
So, Henry, there was a show called
Yeah,
Friends.
yeah.
They hung out at Central Park. Anyway.
Super good show, right?
So what's your go-to line or cheesiness or awkwardness when somebody won't smile or is trying not to smile, try to do the whole serious thing?
Farts.
Oh.
It's always farts.
You fart?
Didn't we talk about farts?
Did you fart when we were?
I do not. I do.
I didn't.
She
I do not
fluttered.
fart. Oh my gosh. I do not fart. We just talk about farts. And at one point I actually polled my audience, like, what do I talk about with kids to make, this is when I was still shooting families and seniors regularly, but I asked them, I said, what do I talk about to make your kids laugh? And I'm like, all I have is farts. And they're like, nope, that's it. Just keep
Yeah,
using
it's
farts. And I have used farts with adults during sessions. It's awkward,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know. I just try and it just depends. It depends on the person. So, but
Yeah.
farts is my go-to. So that's my final answer.
Got it. I like it. So what
If
is
anyone has any other ideas, I'm completely open to better suggestions.
Joe? You could just bring Joe.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I bet that Joe would make it very.
You never
not
know what he's
awkward.
going to dress up as.
I'd get in the kid's face. Hey, look here, Nicholas.
Yeah, and then they would cry.
I'm going to come find you right now.
Yeah.
Poor Nicholas.
You better smile.
Poor kid, dude.
Jesus. Okay.
And then you just say farts and
Just like that.
that was Nicholas.
I'm keeping that in.
No, cut it.
Actually, what
No,
I
I'm gonna
Edit
What I-
take that
one.
little clip and put it on a lot of things. Your little giggle.
Great. I was acting.
Okay.
Everyone.
Let's move to your oh shit.
Please
moments,
do.
Since
okay.
Since Joe wants to avoid talking about his giggle.
Let's start with the bad. So, has there been a time, and we can even go back to when you were doing the families and the
Okay.
senior photos. I bet that's fun. Senior photos, man. Those were lame. Like
They're not lame
Mine
anymore,
were-
though.
mine
That's
were
the
great.
thing.
I
Like,
had
it's
mine with
it's
my Ford
ex-
Probe. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, and I had my highlights in my hair.
Oh, yeah.
The tips.
We need to find these pictures.
I should
Chris.
recreate that.
Ooh.
I just need a white Ford Probe.
Oh yeah.
Your wife can do your frosted tips.
Yes. She wouldn't, but she could. But okay, so let's start with the bad. So is there a time that
Okay.
you were like, and I know you said you
think-
kind of got to that point a couple times, but like there's name one time where you're like, I'm done.
I don't think I was done with this oh shit moment. I actually this sounds such like an interview answer. Like
Like this was prepared.
this is my bad quality, but it's really a good quality.
Oh, okay.
No.
Like I'm just too honest.
I get too dedicated to my work.
Exactly. I don't think I ever had an oh shit moment in photography that made me want to quit. But I definitely had oh shit moments. And I think my biggest one that was when I deleted all of the photos from my best friend's baby's smash cake session. You just
So
can't redo a smash cake.
And it was a friend. It wasn't just a client.
Thankfully, it
a
was my
friend.
best. It was one of my best friends. It was years ago, and my husband happened, because he's just a cool tech guy like this, already happened to own software that could recover it, and so we did recover it. The images weren't as high quality as what they needed to be, but I actually did delete a session of another friend, but we just reshot it, and it was better the second time around, and she was very forgiving. So, but those oh shit moments
my
definitely
God.
taught me like workflows are very important.
Your heart just drops.
Oh
right?
yeah. Like, and honestly, I sometimes after sessions, if I don't go and like upload and back up those photos right away, I in my head think, oh shit, what if that SD card doesn't read? That's the biggest one. And I think that's probably every photographer's biggest fear. Knock on wood, thank God, I have never, thank you for that. I have never had one that was so detrimental like that. That's the biggest one. I've been really lucky, and I think part of it is, like I said, this is the interview answer, but I think part of it is the planning and prep that we put into it. The one time that I had a client, I've had one client who I truly think was disappointed, and it still pains me, but we didn't plan and prep as well as we should have. And some of that planning and prep is on the client. Like I can't come up with your shot list all the time. I don't know how you're going to use these. You can, like, I need to know how you're going to implement these. You need to know how you're going to implement these, and what together we talk about what that looks like, whether it's, an individual with a client, or whether it's you working at a laptop, or whatever that is. And we didn't prep enough for that. And I tried to rectify it, and it just never did. And I don't think that there's terrible feelings, but I don't know that I still don't feel like they were happy, and that kills me, but not enough to quit. I'm not going to quit.
Yeah. Didn't like them that much.
Well, I knew that it wasn't fully on me. I took responsibility for not pushing them and setting my boundaries, and I do a lot better of that now. If I truly feel like someone's pushing me to do something that I just know I can't execute, I'm just really open about that, because I want to set expectations where they need to be so that you're getting the product that you need.
Yeah, because it is important. Brand, your brand.
Yes.
And I like how you said you don't have to like own a business to still need good branding photos.
Yeah. No,
And
I
I
think
always
anybody.
like the idea. Yeah, and you should keep doing it. Like I'll probably do it every 6 months. Is that the plan?
I think so.
Just on a subscription plan
Yeah.
with you.
I actually do have clients who I call them retainer clients, which I don't love that term, but I have clients that I work with regularly on a monthly or quarterly basis, and it's just always updating content. I don't think everybody needs that. My very first brand session that I shot, where I had that, like the same feeling I had the first time I shot a wedding. So I was an event planner prior to becoming a photographer, and so the wedding day is like my jam. I'm like, this is the best of both worlds, right? And the very first wedding that I shot, bless their heart, Ashley and Evan, I love you. They hired me knowing I had never shot a wedding and paid me money. I didn't do it for free. And at the end of it, and I did it with my best friend Rachel, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention Rachel. She's also my cousin and a photographer.
Wow.
Sorry,
Nice
had to do that.
Trifecta. Rachel, we need her on here. What do we got you on here?
You should have never known Rachel. She would probably die, though, if I told her that. But anyway, we shot the wedding, and at the end of the day, I was on such an adrenaline rush and was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this every day for the rest of my life. And that's how I felt my first brand session too. I had so much fun working with Allie, and it was I think it was 2018 when I shot that first one. And it wasn't until 2023 when I like niched and focused. And between 2018 and 2023, Allie never had to reshoot. Those photos from her session lasted her 4+ years until she rebranded. And so I am definitely not in the business of like forcing people to hire me regularly. I don't want your money if you don't need it. But there are certain individuals and businesses that just need one big brand session. Let's get it done and get you everything you need, and I'll see you again when you're ready for a rebrand. And there's other businesses that really do need that fresh content. And so part of the discovery and planning process is like whether you need that or not.
Good deal. All right, let's move to your good oh shit then.
Oh, my good oh shit moment is seriously the day that I realized I did not have enough PTO to fulfill the sessions
Because
I
that
had.
forced you to make the leap
Yeah.
into full-time photography.
Yeah, because it really was oh shit. Like I was calculating, I was like, okay, I have
I have 8
36
days and
I have 36
She's gonna say
hours
it, she's
left.
gonna
I have
say
this because I was at that point. It was the end of February, and I was booked out through April in brand photography.
Holy smokes.
And I only had enough PTO to get me through March
For the
And
year.
for the year.
Wow.
And I was
And your
counting,
company was probably already annoyed at the whole situation.
my company was actually fairly supportive of my side hustle.
Until you quit.
You're dead to us.
my
You
bo-
said
I
it was
don't
a
think-
side hustle.
I don't think my boss was super happy, but the company as a whole, the CFO of the company that I worked is the woman that hired me, and I ended up shooting her daughter's wedding and family photos for different people that I worked with and stuff like that. So they were
That's cool.
fairly supportive. I'm sure that they were not super thrilled when I left, but they tend to be supportive in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I was even calculating out like my accruing. So at the company that I worked for, we accrued, and I was like, okay, what's my paycheck? Because I was like in our ADP system, like if I at the end of March, how many hours do I have? And so that was huge, oh shit, because then it was truly like I either am doing this or I'm not, because I don't want to turn down this brand session, which was the red flags in Neely. That was one of my April sessions.
put up
that
the
was
white
a really
flag.
big,
Most people, yeah.
yeah. So I think that was my biggest. And then this is like a huge deal for me. So thank you for having me on. But
Yeah, thanks
and
for coming.
I'm so glad that you pushed hard enough so that I would say yes at the end, because I would have regretted it for the rest of my life.
That's true. Now you're going to be so busy from
That's
being on
good.
this podcast. And
But I also
we
know
just
so
asked
many
for
people now that
residuals.
I can
It's
send
fine.
you for interviews. Like any of my clients, I'm sure would be thrilled to be on. So
We're always looking for new guests.
Yeah.
So how do people find you on social media, website, all the fun stuff?
So my social media handles are Rebecca Marie Photo Lincoln, because there's more.
There's somebody in
There's another
There's
Rebecca Marie.
Lawrence, Kansas
There's
or
Rebecca
something.
Marie photos out there, which is something that I'm
You want
considering
me to find them
in the
and
future.
take them out?
Whoa. Joe.
I'm just saying.
So Facebook and Instagram, Rebecca Marie Photo Lincoln, and then my website is RebeccaMariePhoto.net, and they can inquire there too. But I'm fine with the DM also.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the Brand Lincoln podcast, where we celebrate this great city of Lincoln. We like to know what you like to do recreationally, what you like to do entertainment-wise, and any restaurants you like to favor.
Okay.
What do you do on on your days off?
I'm a mom of 2 toddlers. I don't have days off.
Oh,
That's probably true.
well, that was a
Okay, so I'm just kidding. One of our favorite places to go is Alchemy, because my husband and his bourbon. We have
I love that place, yeah.
we have a locker there where he stores some of his bourbon, but we really love Evan, the owner of Alchemy. Food wise, man, we go to Single Barrel a lot. Have you guys ever been to Single Barrel since they moved to the Graduate?
No, I have not actually.
No.
I've walked through it a few times, but never sat down.
So our experience at Single Barrel since they've moved to the Graduate has been really well. We're kind of like steak and potatoes family, and it's one of the best places in Lincoln to get a steak. In our opinion, in my opinion,
really?
I say our because my husband, he's a pickier eater than I am, so I'm usually just like whatever. Oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan of New Day's peach iced tea. It's the only place you can get a non-sweetened peach iced tea. New Day Coffee. Have you
Never
ever
even
been
heard of it.
There's
Oh
one
my
in
gosh.
Fallbrook, and there's one
Yeah.
way south, right?
there? Yeah.
Yeah. South 14th.
Yeah.
Yep.
As far as coffee goes, they're our friends, but they're still really good. Rebel Bean Roasters in the Highlands. They have organic coffee, which is sometimes hard to find, and organic teas. And so that's kind of where we go if
What makes a organic coffee?
you have Brandon on, and he can explain that to you.
Okay, fine.
That's a great idea.
I honestly think the standards for organic are different for different food products. So I don't know what it would be for that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
I
when
can
it
give
I
you
comes
a
drive
out.
by that
contact
coffee shop
information.
every day.
Yeah.
Never been.
We'll stop by.
They don't
and-
have an inside. Like you can't.
It's a drive-through only.
It's a drive-through.
Oh.
Only. You can walk inside. They don't have anywhere to sit inside though. I think it used to be like a drive-through convenience
Correct.
store. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't have a public restroom, so he can't have a place for people to sit and
Got
work.
it.
But it's.
Damn rules. What
I
about
know.
a porta potty outside?
I'm sure there are some. in the
It's a
area.
coffee shop. You're going to need a bathroom.
right next to a taco.
Yeah, right next to De Leon's.
restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know. Those are the ones that I can think off the top of my head. Like I said, I don't feel like we get out much. But when we do go on our date nights, we usually almost always go to Alchemy. Fleetwood's kind of one place that we've been going lately too, but we like to try new places, but we just don't get out much.
You always, yeah.
Tell me when you're ready to babysit and I'll go try new places for you.
Well,
got Joe.
no, you just will stick to the regular places. Sorry.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. That was great. You did good.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
thanks.
was fun.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.